So, good evening, Tashi Choedron, Namo Buddhaya. Thank you so much for joining us for this evening Dharma session. So, today I'm going to be talking about the preciousness of our human life, which is the primary teaching of Dharma in Buddhism. Everybody talks about philosophy, very complex philosophy. We talk about Four Noble Truths, like I told you yesterday. Then we talk about the Noble Eightfold Path. So we talk about very complex doctrines, philosophy. Today I want to start from basic. Basic meaning that we need to understand why we have to practice. From the Buddha's teaching, why the Buddha said you must practice. So what is the motivation for us to actually meditate? Why should we be good? Why should we be kind? Why should we do all those things that everybody tells us to be good, to be, discipline and all this? Is it for others, for ourselves? Is it because we are afraid of some punishment? Or, we're afraid we will go down? What is the the reason for us having to practice? There must be a reason, otherwise there is no need for me to practice or to teach, correct? Must be a reason. Am I loud enough? You can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So before we go into that detail, so in the tradition, we will take refuge and generate a kind heart that we are listening to this Dharma teaching for the benefit of all living beings. Not only for me, not only for you, but for Baba, for Kiki, for Roxy, Jackie, Mittu, Princess, Scruffy, everybody. So these are just the ones that we can see. The ones that we cannot see, the ones that are near and far. And so many billions, trillions, zillions of living beings who have mind. We have mind. Mind means there is consciousness which is embodied within a body. So we are consciousness embodied in a human body. And there are other consciousness embodied in another type of body. Some cat body, some dog body. But our consciousness is the same. There is no difference when you talk about mind, whether it is a cat or a dog or even a cockroach, a fly. We are all the same. So that is why we do not kill anything according to the Buddha. Buddha's teaching say no killing, no stealing, no sexual misconduct, keep mindful of the speech, speak the truth, no lying, harsh speech, gossiping, no, and also no intoxicants, no booze, no drugs, no smoke, and reduce Facebook, TikTok, all addictive, okay. So we will take refuge now, and we take refuge in whoever who inspires us. So if you have anyone from your respective spiritual traditions that you find peace and happiness and gives you and brings you joy and inspires you, please bring to mind anyone who is enlightened, not just anyone in the human realm. We're talking about saints or prophets, anyone who inspires you coming from your spiritual tradition. In the Buddhist tradition, we talk about the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. So we will begin. Namo Gurube. Homage to the lineage of teachers. Namo Buddhaya. Homage to the enlightened ones. Namo Dharmaya, homage to their teachings. Namo Sanghaya, homage to the community of practitioners. Namo Gurube, I'm inspired by the lineage of teachers. Namo Buddhaya, I'm inspired by the enlightened ones. Namo Dharmaya, I'm inspired by their teachings. Namo Sanghaya, I'm inspired by the community of practitioners. Namo Gurube, my path is supported by the lineage of teachers. Namo Buddhaya, my path is supported by the enlightened ones. Namo Dharmaya, my path is supported by their teachings. Namo Sanghaya, my path is supported by the community of practitioners. Tashi Choedron Choedron. Until the heart of enlightenment is reached, I go for refuge to the Gurus, Buddha, Dharma and Sangha. Janchu Bardu Dagni Chap Suchi Dagi Jinsagi Peshe Namki. From the merits accrued by practicing generosity, morality, patience, effort, meditation and wisdom, Drola Penchi Sangye Dro Parasho, may I become a fully enlightened being, a Buddha, to benefit numberless sentient beings. Sangye Choedron Soki Chognamla Jancho Bardu Dagni Chap Suchi Dagi Jinsagi Peshe Namki. Rola Penchi Sangye Dro Parasho, Sangye Choedron Soki Chognamla Janchu Bardu Dagni Chap Suchi Dagi Jinsagi Peshe Namki. Rola Penchi Sangye Dro Parasho. Semchen Thamche Devadan Deve Jodan Depare Juche Dungadan Dungegi Jodan Devare Juche Dunge Mepe Devadan Padame Dravare Juche Nire Chadan Nidan Dave Tanyom Chen Pola Nepare Jureche. Semchen Thamche Devadan Deve Jodan Depare Juche Dungadan Dungegi Jodan Devare Juche Dunge Mepe Devadan Padame Dravare Juche Nire Chadan Nidan Dave Tanyom Chen Pola Nepare Jureche. Semchen Thamche Devadan Deve Jodan Depare Juche Dungadan Dungegi Jodan Devare Juche Dunge Mepe Devadan Padame Dravare Juche Nire Chadan Nidan Dave Tanyom Chen Pola Nepare Jureche. May all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all beings be free from suffering and from creating those causes of suffering. May all beings never be separated from the bliss of the true nature of mind. May all beings be equanimous, free from the extremes of attachment and aversion. Semchen Namki Sampadan Loye Jeta Jetawa Jechong Tumon Tekpayi Chwiki Korlo Kordu. So we request the Buddhas to turn the wheel of the Dharma for the benefit of all sentient beings. So now we have taken refuge and for the benefit of all living beings, and we are now going to start the teaching on the preciousness of this human rebirth. So in the Buddhist tradition, it is said that human rebirth is very rare and precious, meaning that not everybody can obtain the human rebirth. So nowadays, not everybody can get the human rebirth. It's not easy to obtain, yeah? It's not easy. Why? It's not easy. So here I will give you the explanation. So now we think that there are 8 billion people on the planet and it's just too many. It's not enough resources. There's too much burden on the environment, too much burden on the planet, correct? And there's so much poverty and so many people live very miserable lives, correct? So therefore, human rebirth is not so precious after all, right? But if you look at it from the Buddha's point of view, the human rebirth is the most precious gift that anyone can get. Anyone. When you put things into perspective, the human rebirth compared to any other kind of rebirth is very rare. So now you count 8 billion people. Then maybe you should count the number of animals that are in this world compared to people. And then you count the number of insects. Then you count bacteria, microorganisms, parameciums, amoebas, worms, earthworms, millipedes, centipedes, all these mini creatures and all. Yeah? So you have to put things into perspective. So when we are born human, many of us don't want to live. We want to die. Many. And I can understand, because it's very difficult to survive in this world. We have loneliness, we have so many issues, mental health issues, etc. So we think that we want to end the life. But remember, before taking any drastic step, that how we managed to get here into this body is not an accident. So some people blame our parents that we are born because of you, because you couldn't control yourself, so I'm born. Yeah. Well, that is a way for you to come into the world. If your parents didn't get together, you will not be here. That's number one. And you might be in someone else's womb. And it could be a mama cat, mama dog, mama snake, in the mama snake's, what is that? Egg, yeah. Mm-hmm. So, as a fly. So, can you understand the difficulty? So, if you still don't see it, today's teaching is all about telling you how precious our rebirth is. So I was talking about mental health issues. So we have many people on planet Earth who live in such miserable conditions that they would rather die because they're hungry. Hunger is one of the worst punishments, and because they're also sick. Many people are very sick, and being in this body is just too much pain. But some people who are neither sick nor hungry, but who are perfectly healthy, but inside the mind they're not healthy. And when you're not healthy in the mind, then it doesn't matter, you don't have this understanding and appreciation of the human birth. And therefore we think that, why am I here? I don't understand the world. Why my parents created me? Why am I here? Where am I going to go after I die? What is the whole purpose? I'm born, I've got to go to school, I've got to compete, after so much of work, so much homework, so tired, and then I've got to compete to go to the university, or I've got to, get a job, and then I have so many problems, and then I have to marry. Many of us have to marry, and then, and then we have to produce children, and then we go around the same circle. Our parents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents, whatever they did, we have to do. and it just goes round and round, and we feel trapped in this human life. Especially if we are women, we have got so much of burden of taking care of giving birth to children, burden of taking care of the children. So I say burden because it's actually many people don't want to do it, but they have to do it. So I rephrase it: a duty to take care of the children, a duty to reproduce according to the family, according to the culture, right? And reproductive right is not in our hands anymore. It's in the hand of the culture, the people, the husband, the extended family, the mother-in-law, the father-in-law. All these expectations come on us, right? So we feel that, that we are just useless. There is no meaning to the life. We're just born and going through the motions. Nobody cares. And therefore I also don't care. But here the Buddha said, this is not the true way of understanding our life. Our life has a very high purpose, and how we got here is extremely important. And therefore, regardless of whether you are young or old, sick or healthy, we must learn this teaching, very important. So before we go further, I would like to wish my sister a very very happy birthday, and auspiciousness for long life, good health, and also welcome to the teachings. And I hope that the ceremony went well. Yeah, so we just started the chanting and everything, but the teaching is just starting now. That was just a short introduction. So today we are going to learn about the precious human rebirth, because it is your birthday. So birthday means being born and coming into this world, correct? Yep. So now today we must understand why you came into this world. There's a purpose, right? So, and there is causes and conditions. So you just didn't come by accident. Some people say that my parents made a mistake and I'm here. There are no mistakes when it comes to karma. You are here because you have to be here, because you planted the seed to be here. It's not because your parents made a mistake, it's because you had to come somehow or other, because that's your karma, right? If you are not here, you would be here, or you would be there. You have to be somewhere. So it's said that, our mental energy has to travel somewhere. So where should we travel? So here, I'm going to give you this teaching today. So it may sound like a very boring, old-fashioned teaching. People don't like to hear the precious human rebirth teaching. But I say that when you hear this teaching, you will understand why your life is so important. And if anybody there contemplating suicide, anybody who's listening to this video online, if anybody there thinks that they want to end it all, to pull the plug, I would like you to listen to this video and then, understand, yeah? Yes.
Excuse me, because it was you said if you were not a human, you are there, it is not possible that we were anywhere.
That's a very interesting question. You see, now you have consciousness, right? Your consciousness came from somewhere, right? So in the Buddha, in one of the important things about the Buddha's teaching is that people have asked the Buddha, how did the world come about? Who created the world? Who created beings? And how did beings, the consciousness, come about? All these questions were asked by the Buddha. So the Buddha said that if I want to answer this question, right, it's a futile, because it's so deep. It's like trying to find out the first cause of the world, which never you can find. Because there's no first cause. There's none. So the Buddha said, by asking these questions, it's like somebody who is shot by a poison arrow, and then somebody comes and helps you. So, I'm being shot by an arrow. It's just like, okay. Then somebody said, okay, moon comes and helps me. He said, Dr. Karma, I'll take out the arrow for you. You'll be alright. No. I need to know, number one, who shot the arrow. Then she said, no, you have no time because it's a poison arrow. Don't worry about this, we'll talk about this later. No. I want to know where is the arrow made. I want to know what is the shape, the size of the arrow, how heavy it is, what is it made of, who shot the arrow at what angle, from which part, So by the time Moon answers all my questions, the poison would have spread through my body and I would have died. So the Buddha said that asking the questions about these very complex questions about why we are here and not there, it implies that there is we are asking, where did we come from? Where did the consciousness come from? So suffice to say that there is consciousness, the Buddha said, and there is consciousness because we created the causes and conditions for it through our desire. So the Four Noble Truths says there is suffering, there is a cause for suffering, last night we already discussed here, and then there is a path out of suffering, and the path is the Noble Eightfold Path. So we had that desire, and that desire is fueled by the energy of ignorance, the collective, we call it deep delusion that we have in the whole universe, and therefore we have manifested in different forms. So we have that consciousness. So now the consciousness is there, and there is no doubt about it. If there is no consciousness, you won't be in front of me. But now, having had the consciousness, you have a choice whether you want to find out where the consciousness comes from, which the Buddha said is akin to, like we don't have much time left. We do not know whether we are going to die today, tomorrow, this very second. Something might drop and all of us will be gone. We don't know, right? So therefore, Buddha said, don't worry. Out of loving kindness, he said, don't worry about all these questions, because the Buddha knows, but he cannot explain, because it's like you're going and asking a plant, how did you come about? And then the plant will tell you, I came about through the sun, through the wind, through the bacteria, to the soil. And then you ask, which soil? Can you name me the soil? Which particular soil? Which particular water touched you at that time? Which particular sun ray did cause the condition? So many things. And the plant will say, I'm just here. Water me. Take care of me. So now you are just here. So we need to water our own seeds. So now we are giving the right water and the fertilizer for you to bloom. Regardless of how old we are, we can still bloom beautifully. Okay? So it's not the age, it's the mind. Right? So now, like I said just now, the preciousness of the human rebirth is the primary teaching that it comes under the classes called Ngondro in Tibetan. Ngondro means preliminary practices, and these are the practices that we do before we can take any teachings, higher teachings. So which means that in the Tibetan tradition, this teaching is it comes under the class of teachings also called the four thoughts that turn the mind away from samsara. Samsara is this recycle process of going round and round and round. This place that we are in now, the experience that we are experiencing, is called samsara. Samsara actually is a place which is characterized by suffering, discontent, dissatisfactoriness, pain, sorrow. So we are in this realm. And the Buddha is no longer in samsara. The Buddha is in nirvana. So if you say that there is a samsara and nirvana, it's like the two sides of this. So this side is samsara, this side is nirvana. But actually speaking, there is no such duality. The samsara and nirvana is created by our own mind. So the very fact that we are here now because our mind sent us here. Because our mind is samsaric mind. So when you start practicing, you just turn it over, and one fine day you can come out from the samsara. So one of the important things to understand, what is the difference between samsara and nirvana? When you meditate, okay, you will understand that when you are always tight and grasping at something, when you grasp at something, you are samsaric. You are in samsara. The moment you start let go, you are going to experience small nirvana. So every moment, the mind, I like this, I dislike that. past, future. So you're grabbing, right? So the mind that grasps, clings, is a manifestation of a mini samsara. And it is that mind that creates and continues, makes you stay longer in samsara. So the idea of meditation is to change the way you think so that every moment you are letting go. And letting go is a cause and condition for nirvana. So it's that simple. So that's why I said meditation is actually so profound and so simple that people think that meditation is something very great. Actually, it just means letting go. And when you let go, how does the peace of mind come from? Peace of mind comes from letting go. And why is it? So now you can understand the Buddha is so peaceful. Why? Because the Buddha is already in nirvana. And what is nirvana? Nirvana is not a place. Nirvana is the mental attitude of letting go. So the Buddha has let go every moment. He has no more grasping at all in his mind. And he maintained that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, boom. He became the Buddha. Right? But we all, 90% of the time, 99% of the time, grasping. So we think of nirvana. I want to go to nirvana. I pray to Buddha. I want to go to nirvana. I want to go to nirvana. I want to go to nirvana. I want nirvana. So we can pray for 1,000 years. We want something. You are in samsara. You're creating the causes for samsara. Do you understand the logic behind it? Right. Okay. So that is the basic understanding of the samsara. So now I must explain to you from this teaching. This is called Words of My Perfect Teacher, Kunzang Lame Shelung. It is by Patrul Rinpoche. So Patrul Rinpoche's teacher is the one that gave this teaching to him. And in Tibetan Buddhism, our teachers we say that the teachers are higher than the Buddha, because the Buddha cannot come here and teach you, because the Buddha is in nirvana. So the people, the Sangha, the teachers, one after another, lineage of teachers. So the teacher that teaches is the one that is the Buddha at the moment. So I'm not saying that I'm a Buddha, I'm just saying what the teacher is saying about his teacher. Right? So for us, teaching the teacher is very, very important, because without the teacher we can never get any Dharma teachings. So here we say that the precious human rebirth has freedoms and advantages. So precious, yeah. So listen up, yeah. This is interesting. So here freedom means the opportunity to practice the Dharma. Do you have opportunity to listen to the Dharma? Do you think you have the opportunity to listen to the Dharma?
Yes.
That's what's happening now? Yeah? Okay.
Yes.
So, which means that you already have one of the conditions to qualify to be called a precious human rebirth, yeah? So, and then not to be born in one of the 8 states without that opportunity. So we have the opportunity to listen to the Dharma, and there are 8 states of birth which doesn't allow you to actually listen to the Dharma, right? So now, what are those states without that opportunity? So here we have to talk about the different realms that are in samsara. So here realms, R-E-A-L-M-S, realms means the different states, the different planes, P-L-A-N-E-S, planes of existence. So we think that only human beings exist because we are seeing human beings all the time. Maybe some animals here and there. It's just us, Sometimes we're 1 or 2 ghosts, haunted house. So that's all. Actually, that is a very small view. And then maybe a little bit of angels in the heaven, maybe something. So if we talk about our scriptures and all, we will say some are in hell, So let me clarify what the Buddha actually said. The Buddha said, being born in the hells, in the Preta realm, hungry ghost, as an animal, a long-lived god or a barbarian, having wrong views, and being born where there is no Buddha, or being born deaf and mute are the 8 states without freedom. So here, we say that in Buddhism, there are hells. Hells are mental states. Because your mind is fueled by anger at the time of death, so one will be reborn in a hellish state. It could be within this human realm, experience a hell-like state, or in another existence where people say that you're being boiled in the pot, you're being burned at the stake, you're being sawed into half, all these things. I don't know what hell is because I have never been, but according to, actually in Buddhism it says that I have been in hell many times before, but I cannot remember. So that's what the Buddha said. But forget about hell, forget about heaven. So this is just talking about people in the hell. Those beings that are born in hell have no opportunity to practice the Dharma because they are constantly tormented by intense heat or cold. So whether we choose to believe it or not, it's okay. Yeah, it doesn't matter because it's so far away and we can't see, right? So we don't know. But this is what the Buddha has, through his own clairvoyance, his part of his realization. The Buddha actually told us that there are parallel universes. Parallel universes. This is not the only universe. This is not the only planet. There are parallel galaxies, planets, multiple places where people take birth. Multiple, right? So it's a matter of, some people say if I don't see it, I don't believe it, which is fine. We don't see gravity, but we believe it. Maybe. So it's like, yeah. So sometimes it's not about seeing things with the naked eye, but the moment you experience anger and then you feel that you are not at peace, that is a hell. And the more intense it is, every day you live your life like that, anger, upset, grudges, the hatred that is inside. I don't like. When it becomes full blown, you're like, it's like a demonic state, right? So that is actually the experience of hell. So the Buddha said that there are hot hells and cold hells, but we don't worry about that. But the point is that in the hell, it's just too cold or it's just too hot, and you don't have the peace of mind to practice. So let's just say we don't have to worry about heaven and hell just now. Let me give you examples of hellish states of mind in the human realm. When you are very angry, suppose now you visualize for about 10 seconds, close your eyes. I want you to bring an image in your mind. Okay? When were you most angry? Can you remember? I'm sure everybody has experienced anger. And that anger, can you remember how it felt? So this is not to make you upset. Yeah, this exercise is just for you to look at your own mind, but not to harm you. So you look at your own mind where there was a time where you were extremely upset. And then if you can look at yourself in the mirror now, as in like at that time when you were angry, could you see the face, the eyes bulging, the voice roaring like a thunder, the movements very violent and fast, the words very harsh and shrill and full of spite, like poison coming out from the mouth. And then your mind, is it clear? If suddenly you remember now that you were angry, and now you try to recall that feeling, do you have peace of mind? Do you have clarity? So when you are angry, I tell you, okay, come, let's sit down and listen to the Dharma, the teaching. It's like, I don't want, I cannot. It's just too much, I don't like it. Right? You cannot. So that gives you a glimpse of a hell state of mind. So, and it's just too much pain, too much sorrow, too much anger, too much hurt. Your body starts to feel miserable. You feel tight here. You're like burning in fire. So when you're burning in the fire of anger, so there's no way that your mind can focus. You'll be shivering in anger. your mind will keep on going back to that person, that incident, that meeting, and there's no way that you can listen to the teachings. Yes, no? Can you remember? Have you ever been angry before? Right? So during that state of mind, there is no clarity. Where there is anger, there is no clarity. And if you are reborn in a state where that is your live daily experience 24/7, so that is called a hell realm, right? So number 2, the pretas. Pretas have no opportunity to practice the dharma because of the suffering they experience from hunger and thirst. So here the Buddha also said there's another class of beings, unseen beings, and they are, Chinese believe that they are somewhere, in the hell realm, and then once a year, during the seventh, the fifth, the sixth month, fifth month.
Next month.
The sixth month of the 7th month of the lunar calendar. So the 7th month of the lunar calendar, the Chinese lunar calendar, the hell gates open, and then the hungry ghosts come out, and then they search for food, because the whole year they have no food, they have no drink. So it is said that their stomachs are so big. That big means they're so hungry, right? And their throats are so tiny, like needle, right? So this is the experience of a hungry ghost, meaning that they cannot get any food, and they cannot get any water. So any food that they get is like snot. So for us, when we see water, oh, this is water. So our karma allows me to see this as water, and I experience this as clean water, and I drink. Cheers. And then the Buddha said, the hungry ghost can be anywhere among us, because the Chinese believe that they are somewhere else, but from the Indian tradition, they are anywhere. They're anywhere, okay? Anytime. And they are here, and they're looking at this water. And they look at this water will be like pus and blood. So they want to drink it, and then it's like pus and blood, they cannot drink. And then when the water goes into their mouth, it burns their mouth, because they don't have the karma to drink it, right? So once upon a time, let me tell you a story. So there was one of the Buddha's foremost disciples, his 2 main disciples actually. The Buddha had 2 sidekicks. One was Moggallana, the other one was Shariputra. Moggallana was very highly realized monk with clairvoyant powers, supernatural, supernormal powers, amazing, very, very amazing powers, So he was called the monk with the foremost clairvoyance and the magical, supernormal powers arising through meditation. He wasn't a wizard, it was through meditation. One day, the Buddha saw him crying in his meditation. So then the Buddha asked, Moggallana, why are you crying? Then he opened his eyes, and then he said, Master, he said, I saw my mother in the dream, in my meditation. He said, is that so? Yes, Master, I saw my mother. Then, but why are you crying when you saw your mother? Because I was feeding her food in my dream, in my meditation. And when she opened her mouth, the food turned into charcoal, into hot fire embers, and it burned her mouth, and fire started coming out from her mouth, and she screamed and she couldn't eat. And I was helpless, I couldn't do anything for her. As a monk, as her son, one who achieved high states of realization, he became a saint. But even in the saint state, he couldn't help his mother. So then he asked the Buddha, what can I do? What happened to my mother? Where is she? Then the Buddha explained, I'm sorry to say, because of her karma of being stingy and too attached, so to her possessions, she was reborn as a hungry ghost, unable to find food and drink. And they are unable to find food and drink for aeons. So when you're reborn in hell, supposedly in the Buddhist cosmology, rebirth in hell is like a human realm, like aeons, many millions of years you stay there, because the karma is so strong. And then if you are reborn in the hungry ghost realm, you also millions and millions of years you cannot find food or drink. So it's like, there was once a story where in this book, but I give you a very short version. In Bodh Gaya is where the Buddha was enlightened. It's in present day Bihar in India. It's the tree of enlightenment. So that place has a lot of a lot of people go there. So then the ghosts also go there. So because they say that if the people throw something, then they can get some food, or maybe if the people give some prayers, offerings, and then maybe they can get some food. So there was once this saint. The saint is we call it Arahant in Buddhism, in Pali Theravada Buddhism. Arahant is the highest stage of sainthood in Theravada Buddhism, not Mahayana Buddhism. Mahayana Buddhism, a Buddha is the highest. Of course, in Theravada Buddhism, Buddha is also the highest, but nobody can achieve Buddhahood. So we achieve until Arahant. So there was this Arahant called Arahant Katyayana. Arahant Katyayana, he had the ability to traverse between this human to hell, to hungry ghosts, to Deva, Asura, all these different realms. So one day he went, to see where, how he wanted to understand what's happening, where are all these beings born. So he went to the hungry ghost realm. And when he went to the hungry ghost realm, he met this ogress who was very hideous in her appearance. And she was very hungry, and she had children, also small little pretas, small little hungry ghosts. And then the lady said, if you meet my husband, where are you going, Venerable Sir? I'm going to Bodh Gaya. Oh, you're going to Bodh Gaya. Oh, my husband has been there like for aeons, He hasn't come back yet, and my children are hungry, and I'm hungry too. He promised to bring us back some food, but he's not back yet. Can you please send a message to him and say that we are very hungry, and can you please come back? So then, okay, he went. So this Arahant went to Bodh Gaya. And then after that, how would I know who's your husband? He said, oh, is it the one who is the ugliest among all the hungry ghosts? Is definitely my husband. Something like that, yeah. So he went, and then he found, this is not a nice way to say it, but the most hideous among all the demons he found. And then he said, are you this person's husband? He said, yes, I am. You met my wife and children? Yes. Oh, how are they? Oh, they are hungry. And then and then the Arahant said, you know what? They are asking you to go home and feed them, because you're supposed to bring food for them. You have not come back for a long time. He said that, how can I go back? I have nothing to feed them. He said, but you have been here for a long time. Then he looked at the Arahant and he said, the demon said, he said, sir, you look at how many hungry ghosts are here, and every now and then, whenever like somebody spits, so they can only eat spit or kind of vomit or blood or pus, these kinds of things they can get, So it's like a street dog, like a stray dog from the dump, from the trash. You see it on this planet, and the hungry ghost is like that. So he said that when somebody even drops as much as on the floor, about 1 million hungry ghosts will try to pick up that snot. He said, I've been here for years. I haven't had the opportunity to get even one drop of snot. So that sounds disgusting and putrid, right? So that is the experience of a hungry ghost. Always tormented by hunger and thirst. Okay, if you don't believe that there is a hungry ghost realm, it doesn't matter. Don't need to believe, right? I'm just telling you what is in the Buddhist cosmology. Now, let's relate it logically to your experience now. Suppose now you get so hungry, you have gastric. Can you visualize for 5 or 10 seconds how would it feel to have a stomach which is full of gas, the stomach is painful, acidity is rising, reflux, so pain, and you feel that your stomach is corroding, the acid has eaten up your stomach, it's so painful, so hungry. Can you listen to the teachings? And you're so thirsty, you feel that you're about to faint of dehydration. Can you listen to the teaching?
Yes.
Yeah. You think if you're so hungry, so thirsty, you think you can listen?
No. I don't think so.
No, right? Most probably not. Maybe up to a certain extent, but after that you will collapse of hunger, right? Isn't it? So it's the same thing. If you don't need to believe, if you don't want to, that there's a hell realm, that there's a preta, if you don't see it, you don't want to believe it because you don't see it, is fine, because that's also good. So it may just be a story, it may not. But if you look at it logically speaking, when you are hungry, you cannot hear the Dharma. If you're so hungry, you have no food to eat, you're born in a place where you hardly get any food, you're malnourished, you're undergoing severe malnourishment, and you're famished, and you have been reduced to a pile of bones, and you have no energy. And this is happening in many parts of the world. In Yemen, so many children are dying of starvation, malnutrition, right? You're on the brink of starvation, and then somebody comes and teaches you the Dharma. Now, here is the Four Noble Truths, here is the Noble Eightfold Path, now practice. It's like, can you give me food? I'm hungry. So nobody can practice if you don't satisfy the basic needs. The basic need of food, shelter, water, medicine, clothing, right? So in that way, we can understand that it is very difficult to practice when we do not have the right conditions. So for those of us who are starving, so theirs is not considered a precious human rebirth. And for those who are in tormented states, like in jails or places where they are always angry and they are miserable, there's so much of fear, also it's not a precious human rebirth. So we can establish that. So we need to think logically. So animals, you can see, animals have to undergo slavery, and then also they have got to suffer, right, from the attacks of other animals. So they're constantly trying to save themselves. So the bigger ones eat the smaller ones eat the even smaller ones, and then the humans eat all of them. We are like ogres, we eat anything. We are the worst creatures on earth. Most creatures only eat a certain type of either plant or certain type of animal, but the humans eat everything. So we are like the ogres on this planet. So we want to eat anything, or anything exotic. I'll eat kangaroo, birds of paradise, I'll eat anything under the sun, because I just want to taste. So the human being is one of we say we are the highest in the food chain, because we have the intelligence, but we misuse it to harm other living beings. When actually we can be vegetarian if we want to. Human beings are omnivorous. We are not born to be carnivores. Carnivores means that they are carnivores. They cannot eat vegetables and survive on vegetable diet. They need carnivores because that's their karma and that's their body. The animal, the cat. Dogs are omnivorous. They can survive, but they don't thrive. So human beings can survive as vegetarians, but they may not thrive, but they can survive. So that is the thing. So here, animals being born and animals being beaten, beat the cow, beat the donkey, put the animals into cages and make them produce milk, make them produce the meat, make them produce eggs, just bring the drudgery of the farm, where the animals' nails actually get entangled in the cage and they become stuck to the cage, and then when they are useless, they are killed off. And then even in the villages in India, where the farming conditions are so much better, when the mother cow, the female, no longer gives milk, they just send her away, bye. And then she goes into the streets and she eats plastic and garbage, and her stomach is big, and then she dies. So this is how grateful human beings are. So the animals are made to work, suffer, produce for us, and the first milk of the mother, the cow, is taken away for us, and then the small cow, the calf, wants the milk and cannot get. So this is how evil the human beings are. So this is the suffering of the animal realm. The suffering of the animal realm is like this. It's very, very, very painful. And then only to be killed by people, by the dog catchers, to be caught, to be killed in very, very, very frightening ways. So in nature, an animal eats one another, and the suffering is just done at that time. You're caught, you're killed, and then the suffering ends. But if you're caught by a human, the suffering never ends. For years and years and years, you'll be chained and locked and experimented, upon, cut up, laboratory rats, rabbits, monkeys, many things. So it is us humans who actually inflict the worst suffering on animals. So nature, there's no animal who actually, maybe little bit where Sometimes you see dogs or cats, when they catch their prey, they will play a little bit, right? They play, right? But actually that is but it's not like years and years. It's just for a short while. Then after that they kill it, and they either they eat it or they don't, or they just leave it as a trophy. I do not know, but it is us humans who can actually really torture for maximum number of years, and giving the worst kind of suffering for the animals, the unimaginable, that nature has never ever designed in that way. So this is a very frightening thing about our human rebirth, being human but being worse than demons. Yeah. So here, where is it? No, I cannot remember where is it. Right, just a second. Yeah, I should have remembered where the page is. So I wanted to give you from the book itself. Yes, okay. So it is page 20. So now we go into the long-lived gods. So there is another realm called the God realm. So this God is not that man upstairs sitting on the throne and then creating people and then inflicting suffering. Okay, you suffer because you didn't believe in me. You don't suffer because you believe in me. Not that kind of God. So in Buddhist cosmology, there is no that kind of God. So actually the word God is not the correct translation. We call it Deva. Devas, there's so many different Deva realms. So we have the musician Devas, we have got the Devas of the heavens of the 33, we've got the Devas in the Tushita heaven, Travatimsa heaven, we've got Devas who are like Brahmas, so we call it the Brahma realm. So we have got Devas who actually have no form, formless Devas who only have mind. So we have got Devas who are just light. So many different kinds of Devas, celestial beings is a way of saying it, not God. Yeah, so here the word God, I also don't quite agree with the translation, but we call it like celestial beings. So all those like spirit protectors, so they are also a class of gods. So it's like the Dharma protectors and all, they are like in a way a class of gods that are of the lowest Deva realm. So we have the celestial, which is like the high heavenly ones, and then we have the terrestrial, which are some spirits that live on the planet, and then these are like the protectors. So they are not spirits, but they are like devas. So devas are born because of pride. Because of a lot of pride, they are born in the celestial realms, and they too are full of enjoyment. They are so proud of themselves that they feel that they have music all the time. They have so much food to eat. Because of good karma, they are reborn there, and then they have got beautiful features, beautiful clothes, beautiful palaces, so many concubines, so many husbands, so much of things going on in there, just constantly frolicking in their own wealth, riches. It's like the place where everybody wants to be. In a way, you can say that we are all devas, a little bit. For those of us who live in luxury like this, all of us now here, so we have got, when you want, you can on the fan, luxury. Then when you don't want, you off. We want, you on the aircon. So we can control nature, we can control temperature, we have hot bath, cold bath, long bath, short, and then massage. So we are actually in a way like devas, right? Some of us live like hungry ghosts on this planet. Some of us live like hell beings. Some of us have to rummage for food like animals and are also being killed and trafficked, abused and jailed like animals. Some of us some of us in the human realm, we live like devas. So you don't have to be reborn, you don't have to die to understand what a deva is, because you see it here. Some people have got Malibu beach pool, such a big they've got so many servants, so much food, they don't know what to do. So they're all the time enjoying. So these are the beings who are always enjoying. So now, when I asked you just now, I forgot to ask you about the animals. I think it's obvious that if you're an animal, you cannot, because you do not only have not have the intellect, but you do not have the freedom to practice the Dharma. You cannot understand, right? And if you're born as a deva, You don't want to practice the Dharma because why? I have so much already. There's nothing that I need to, there's nothing, I don't need to come out from it because I love my condition. It's wonderful. Right? So if you're frolicking at the beach and then I come, okay, and I said, okay, look here, the Four Noble Truths is this, like, can you like buzz off? Like I'm having a suntan here, I'm sunbathing, isn't it? So it's like if you're at a party eating caviar and drinking wine and all, and then I come and teach you the Four Noble Truths. The life is suffering. Get lost because I'm not suffering. I'm having wine and caviar. It's like, hello, what's wrong with you? So you will not practice because that's not your frame of mind at that time. So too much suffering like the hell and hungry ghosts and the animals, you also cannot practice. Your mind is not at peace. And too much enjoyment, also your mind cannot practice because you don't want to practice because you don't see the point, right? So, and then so now we say those born in border countries, they say. So born in border, so these gods actually live a very long time, the celestial beings, like millions and zillions of years. So it's like we've been here like forever. So all these gods, like today in the heaven, there are celestial beings who have actually seen the Buddha and who are still around in this world today. And for them it was just like 2 hours ago. So one day in the long-lived gods, in the Deva realm, certain Deva realms, one day it's like 10,000 years for us, right? So that means some of them 5,000 years, some of them 2,500 years, some of them 1 million years, like that. So it's that long, human years, yeah? So you talk about, because Einstein's theory of relativity, that time and space is actually very relative. You ask the cat what is their time and space, and you ask a dog, and you ask a human being, it's very different. And you ask a person who is suffering, time is very long. You ask a person who is enjoying, the time is very short, right? So time is not absolute. So this is Einstein's theory of relativity actually really conforms to the Buddhist idea that time and space is a mental construct, right? So therefore, when you have created sufficient good karma to enjoy, so you enjoy for a very long time because that's your mind. So here there are some gods actually who have seen the Buddha. Was it 2 hours ago he was like born? Or was it like half an hour ago he got enlightened? Or was it like 20 minutes ago the Buddha passed away? Or something like that. Oh, okay. So these are the devas. If you ask them, what did the Buddha look like? They could probably say, okay, he looked like this, and then they can show you. So there are stories about devas actually showing themselves. So one day, one monk, he wanted to see the Buddha so badly, and then because he was such a good monk, one of the devas appeared. And then the deva said, what can I do for you? Then he said, I just do one thing only. I don't want anything else. Just show me what the Buddha looked like. So then the deva said, okay, I will show you what the Buddha looked like, provided that you do not prostrate to me, you do not bow to me when I manifest as the Buddha. Because he said, have you seen the Buddha? Of course. He said, do you know what he sounded like? Of course, I listened to his teaching, I can remember. Can you remember what he looked like? Of course. Can you show it to me? Definitely. So he manifested as the Buddha. And then the monk who saw the Buddha, immediate reaction is to bow. And the deva got very angry, at the monk for breaking that. But the monk said that I'm not prostrating to you, don't worry. I'm prostrating to my teacher. So it's not you, it's my teacher, which I have a very deep connection. So can you understand the relativity of time and space? So here we say that, we think of this space, this planet Earth, the animals, us, a few insects here and there, some haunted houses, some spirits here and there, little bit. That's all that we can think of, because that's all our mind can cope. But actually the world is so vast, time and space is beyond our comprehension. So that is the reason why the Buddha said that there's so many parallel universes, but we don't believe it because our concept of time and space is very limited. So if our minds are vast, we will be able to understand that definitely there are places where, that these are happening, because now we understand such a thing as the theory of relativity. Okay. So, Okay. So now those born in border countries. So border countries actually in the past it actually means that those who are born. So India in the past was called Madhya Desa. Madhya means the center of the world. Center. Madhya Desa. So if you ask an Indian in the past, some 2000 years ago, to draw the map of the world, they will draw India in the middle and everything else at the side. So so whoever who's in India is considered like civilized. Whoever who is outside of the borders of India are considered barbaric. This is the this is like how to say history. I'm talking about history here. So if you ask the King Mongkut, like if you look at the Anna and the King and I, King Mongkut was the fourth Rama IV of Thailand, right? So he was the father of King Chulalongkorn. So Rama IV had a tutor. Her name was Anna, and this tutor was a British tutor who came to teach him. And then she put the map of the world, and then she said that this is Thailand. He couldn't believe. He said, "No, Thailand is not there. Thailand is the center of the world," because that's what they believe. You see? So Thailand is the Madhya Desa, because Madhya Desa actually has a connotation that it is a Buddhist country, a country where there is Dharma, and any other country that doesn't have Dharma are called the border areas. Right? So that is what it means. Yeah. So the border areas means now, today in the globalized world, it's very difficult to say which is the border areas. But in the past, when this book was being written, border areas are those countries where the teachings of the Buddha hasn't reached, right? So they say that being born as a barbarian, yeah. So barbarian, it's like it's a hubris, it's arrogance. So whoever who does not have Dharma is considered barbarian, in according to ancient Buddhist people. So if Dharma hasn't reached your land, then you are still cannibalizing people, still killing, not having any Dharma. So that is considered barbaric. So of course, that's very old-fashioned thinking, right? It's quite dangerous also, right? But just to look at it simply is to say that where Dharma hasn't reached, that place has darkness. And if the Dharma has never reached you, you can be living in the country which has the best technology, the best healthcare, everything, but no Dharma. You're still going to be miserable. Right? You got no opportunity to listen to the Dharma. So that is that. So then, having wrong views. So this is very important now. So here, wrong views means that. So here, first let me talk to you about this barbarians also. So in the ancient time, so they said that there are 32 border countries bordering Tibet and India, right? So they are the ones who consider harming others as an act of faith. They say, and this one says here, savage beliefs see taking life as good. So what I said just now is a summary, yeah? So these people inhabiting the outlying territories have human form, but their minds lack the right orientation, and they cannot attune themselves to the Dharma. So they inherit from their forefathers such customs as marriage to their mothers. They live in a way that is very opposite of Dharma practice. Everything they do is evil, and it is techniques of such harmful activities as killing insects and hunting wild beasts that they truly excel in. So many of them fall into lower realms as soon as they die. For such people, there is no ability to practice the Dharma. So of course, if you look at it from the modern point of view, this is so outdated thinking, right? But the reason why I'm telling you this is because this is a very ancient text. I mean, not the ancient text, it's a medieval text, yeah? So this is how people used to think at that time. But having said that, in the teachings, the Buddha also said like this, that at that time, 2,600 years ago, this was a reality where you enter into any of those 32 territories, you get killed. So basically, it is like you are being hunted, like a head hunting. So if you go to cultures where I am indigenous, I live with indigenous peoples. I lived with them for 3 years. I'm an anthropologist, and I study indigenous peoples, and I have deepest respect for their customs and for their belief system and all. But there are some cultures who I have seen who actually cannibalize people. They actually attack others, and then they cannibalize. So it was a bit of a violent culture, right? But not to have any hubris. I'm just trying to tell you that this is what they're referring to. So meaning that if there is a culture that, so Buddhism has its tenets, no killing, no stealing, and all these things. So there are some cultures where the tenets are different, right? So this is what they're talking about. So now I'm going to also talk to you about wrong views. So if you have wrong views, so the wrong view is like this. So wrong view is that there is eternal life, and then there's another view is that when we die, there's no life. Finish. So do you believe that where are we going to go when we die?
No, other body, other.
So that's what you know, right? From teachings, correct? Yeah. So basically, you have heard this from somewhere. So you basically think like that, right?
I heard that from animals.
From
Animals.
So you directly can communicate, which is amazing. Yeah. So we need to talk about that more tomorrow over breakfast. This is very intriguing. So okay, so we have somebody very special in our midst. Yeah, reminds me of Saint Francis of Assisi, who could communicate. Yeah, with animals. So I must ask you tomorrow. Right. So Saint Francis of Assisi could communicate with animals, and he was one of the most compassionate human beings on planet Earth. So here we talk about wrong views. Wrong views is having the view that after we die, so it's like there is an eternal heaven and is an eternal hell, like that. So which means that everything is eternal and absolute. And then that is called the eternalist view, that we live on like forever, that this craving of the soul lasting forever, and then there is a forever destination of eternal hell, eternal heaven. And then there is another one which is a nihilistic view. Nihilistic view, that means after we die there's nothing, finish, gone. Is that true? So you said it's not true because you can see from their experience, right? But many people in this world think that when we die, and that's it lah, there's nothing left, so we enjoy the life. So we are born here, this is our only life, so we are born here, and we know that it's a short life because we can see that people maximum are after 100, and after that people are gone. So in this 100 years we live, and then after that there is nothing else. So the nihilistic view is called wrong views in Buddhism because that's not true. It means that if you believe in such a view, then you will not have any accountability towards your actions. That means we could do whatever, we could kill people, steal from others, and then because once the life is up, it's up, and then that's it, it's just gone. So that means the consciousness is just gone, it's just disappeared. But through the law of thermodynamics, right, that energy is not created, and neither does it cannot be destroyed. So energy is not created, it cannot be destroyed. So we say that we create nuclear energy, but actually that is also within the energy that is on this earth. You harness it from smaller particles, but the energy is there, right? So it's just jam-packed into a very small little molecule, atom, and then it has a potential power to destroy, but that actually also is coming from the planet, right? It's not coming from an outer source. So whatever that is in our system here, so we have the energy is not created and it can never be destroyed. So you cannot destroy consciousness. So if you say that when I die, I just want my consciousness to just destroy, I don't want to live anymore. So it's like not only the body goes, but the people say that even my consciousness, that mental energy will go. That's it, like destroyed, finished, gone. It no longer exists. So from science, we know that cannot be true.
From science.
So the law of thermodynamics says that the energy cannot be created and energy. I mean, so it's there. So you're just basically transforming it from one form to another, to another, to another, to another, to another. Right?
For instance, me personally, I had what I don't know how to say, this very little in an accident, car accident, a time in which you are somewhere and you see your body and all. No?
Yes. So okay. Yeah. So you're talking about this afterlife, after death experience,
and
right? Yeah. So yeah. So that
what
one.
I remember, I was still.
You have that experience?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So we need to talk about that tomorrow as well.
Yeah.
So much to learn from you also.
About to learn.
Yes. So we have explanation about that, and the near-death experiences, right, also correspond to what we call the bardo in Tibetan, and in Sanskrit we call it antarabhava. So that's an experience between life and death. So we have 6 bardos. Bardo means intermediate state. So we have the bardo of this life. So now that we are living, we have the bardo of this life. And when you are meditating in very deep states, we call it the bardo of meditation. And then when you are dreaming, is also another bardo, because in your waking state is one bardo, in your meditating state is another bardo, when you are dreaming is another bardo, and then when you are dying is called the painful bardo of dying. And then when you are immediately after death, we call it the bardo of dharmata, and that is the time where there is a clear light that manifests, and that is the time we can get liberated according to the teachings. And the 6th bardo is the bardo of becoming, so which is the bardo that opens the door to rebirth in any of the 6 realms of existence. So the experience that you are talking about just now is actually the bardo that of immediately after death, right? Yeah, but it was not very long, and of course, so it was, and it was before the 4 minutes, because after 4 minutes the brain will die, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, so it is during that time, it's for a short while, so it is immediately post death, but it hasn't actually like really reached the dharmata stage yet. So it's just a short one. So then you are actually a bardo being. Actually at that stage you are a bardo being, meaning that you have come out. So for all of us who die, actually when our consciousness gets ejected, we become a bardo being, and we can walk through walls, we can read people's minds, we can see our own body, and then and some people will say that where am I? And you talk to people cannot hear you, and then you get frustrated. You say, where am I? Hello, I'm talking to you. Nobody cares, because they can't
It
hear.
was very quiet, and on the contrary, me was saying, everything is fine. I remember this.
So it depends on your state of mind.
Yeah.
So most people who die, they want to actually try to come back into their bodies, but they cannot. They don't believe that they are dead, and then they just think that that it is another ordinary day. So then they start talking to their relatives, and then they're hungry, they ask for food, they cannot eat the food, and they ask for to talk to the relatives cannot see them, and then they think that the relatives are ignoring them, then they get angry, then they get fearful, they get sad. These are the things. So the longer you stay, you experience this. So because it was a very short one, so you didn't experience what most beings will experience after they die. So it's actually past the bardo of dharmata actually. So it's between the bardo of dharmata and the bardo of becoming. Sorry. So that is the between the 5th and the 6th is the antarabhava being the bardo. Antara means in between, bhava means becoming. So in between the 2 lives, you're somewhere there, So that if you have had that kind of experience, only goes to show that there is continuity. It doesn't end there. The mind doesn't end there. So you cannot destroy mind. That you cannot destroy energy. You can't destroy energy. And mind is a mental energy, and we are all having a mental energy. And basically, all of us, because we are just energy. So basically, we are one. The oneness comes from the fact that we are all beings of energy, vibrating at different frequencies. So when we die, we vibrate at a different frequency. When we are angry, we are at a different frequency. So it's like you are having water, right? So an ice, when you actually have the right causes and conditions, ice vibrates and then becomes water. At how many degrees Celsius it becomes water, right? And then at 100 degrees Celsius it becomes steam. And but it's water, right? So that is we. It's like that. So at certain times we are solid, and at certain times we are light. So basically, so that is how we can be reborn in hungry ghosts and all, because we actually are energy. So it's not a physical body that is going, it's our mind that is going, the energy that is going. So very low frequency means our mind, very low frequency results in solidity. High frequency results in fluidity, and also going beyond, going into the realm of what? That means light. Yeah, so we become actually light. So that's why you can say that, I talked about beings of light, the devas, because they are vibrating in a higher frequency, so therefore they are beings of light, like that. Yeah. So if we understand science and then we look at the Buddha's teachings, then we can understand how they are related. And if you're vibrating at a very low frequency, meaning that you're bogged down, the more negative emotion of hatred, the more negative emotion of anger, hatred, greed, jealousy, pride, these 5 major stains, and then of course delusion, stupidity. Yeah. So those 5 major mental defilements will make us vibrate at a very low frequency. So so the Buddha said that the highest meditation is the meditation of loving kindness and compassion. And studies have shown that monks, when Buddhist monks, they put wires onto the Buddhist monks in the universities in the US and in Europe and all, and then they ask the monk to meditate, right? So then the monks do various different kinds of meditation, and studies have shown that when the monk generates a good heart, kindness, loving kindness and compassion, the brain waves become the frequency, the mental frequency becomes very high. So which means that one is vibrating at the highest level, and that is a cause and condition for us to transcend this human body. So I gave this teaching a few months back to my students, and I talked about rainbow body. In Tibetan Buddhism and in many other cultures in this world also, not only Tibetan Buddhism, where if a meditator is really, really very deep in loving kindness, compassion, and very deep states of meditation, that they actually transcend this the earth, water, fire, wind, space, the 5 elements of the body. So our body is just 5 elements, and if our mind vibrates at a very high frequency, at the time of death we have the ability to dissolve these 5 elements into light. So sometimes if you notice some stories of saints in the past, when they pass away, you don't have a body, you have only light. Like Guru Nanak, for example, of the Sikh tradition, when he passed away, it was just light. And then also for those who choose to go that way. And then there are many practitioners in Tibetan Buddhism until today, where they actually are in their meditative huts, somewhere deep in the Himalayas. And then you can see that they have actually rainbows are emanating from their huts, their meditation huts. And then the people say, oh, they're rainbows. So then the monks go and check. They open the door. Why rainbow? Why rainbow? Then because the person's body has already dissolved. So the meditation, we call it rainbow body, Jalui. Jalui is Jal is a rainbow and Lui is a body. So rainbow body has been accomplished, and that is the highest accomplishment of a meditator according to the Dzogchen Mahamudra teachings of Tibetan Buddhism. So this means that the mind transcends matter. It's mind over matter. So matter is the 5 elements: earth, water, fire, wind, space. And matter is something which is vibrating at a very low frequency. Mind is vibrating at a very high frequency, right? So if the mind is only limited to the senses, remember I talked to you about the 5 senses, we want only good sound, good smell, good taste, good touch. So then you remain in the 5 elements and vibrating at a low frequency, very mundane, very primitive, right? So if you want to transcend this body, so in meditation, when you are meditators who really go into very deep samadhi, you cannot feel the body anymore. So therefore there is no pain, there is no hunger, there is no thirst. And many times, like some of meditators that I've heard of, some very fantastic meditators, that they can stay in the meditation and there's a flooding going on and they are already submerged. People think that the monks have died in the forest, you know. So once there was a time where there was a heavy flooding, and then they couldn't save, they knew the monk was staying there, but because the banks of the river overflowed so fast that they couldn't warn the monk, so they had to run. And then later on they went to search for the monk, and then they found that he was still meditating. With mud and everything on the face, he was still meditating. And this happened in Central Java, in Indonesia, recently in the 20th century. Yes. And then also in Thailand, there was a monk who was meditating, and then they thought that he had died. So he wasn't moving anymore, no breath and all. Oh, okay. So the villagers say, oh, the monk has died. So they did all the funeral. So they put him in the cremation, the funeral pyre, and they burned his body. Then after that, they went away. Then after a few hours, the monk came to the village. Hello. Then they thought that it was the monk's ghost. But he said, no, at that time when you were burning me, I was in deep meditation. So when you are in deep meditation, earth, water, fire, wind, space doesn't affect you. So this corresponds to what the Buddha also said in the sutras. So in the Metta Nisa, what they call that, Nisasa Sutta, Metta Nisasa Sutta, it is said that, the 5 elements will not harm a person who has loving kindness and compassion, very high loving kindness and compassion. You can never be harmed by the 5 elements, and that's exactly what happened to these 2 monks. They were practicing loving kindness, compassion. They went into very deep samadhi, very deep states of mental absorption, that they actually transcended the 5 elements. And because their minds were vibrating at such a high level, nothing affected their bodies also. So, and that's how monks in the Himalayan region, monks, nuns, practitioners, lay practitioners, even so when we meditate, so that not we, they meditated and then they got attained a rainbow body. So that goes to show that so we actually can have mastery over our body if we have mastery over our mind, right? So now that aside, so the wrong views is that thinking that we are forever going to live, or there is a continuity, we want to live forever in either the heaven or hell or wherever, right? Or there is nothing. So if there is nothing, that means that we don't have karma, cause and effect, which is not true. There is karma, there is rebirth. So the nihilistic view that everything finishes, that there is no more mind, it's wrong. Yeah. So a lot of people think like this. So a lot of people who who say that they are atheists, for example. So many atheists are very good people. In fact, most of them are. But then some of them have this view that I'm going to enjoy, I'm going to do whatever I want, and nothing is going to happen to me because this life is the only life I have. So they do not believe in past life, they do not believe in future life, they do not believe in the mental continuum. So therefore it's just over and done with. So there is no karma, there is no consequences. So that's why sometimes people destroy others, destroy planet Earth and all, because many people subscribe to this view, this myopic view. So then they say such views spoil our minds and prevent us from aspiring to the authentic Dharma. So this is the thing. So here there's another one, say birth where there is no Buddha. So birth where there's no Buddha means that Buddha's not necessarily that you will live in a time where the Buddha will come, right? So means that this world will be destroyed. So everything that arises in this world has to destroy. Just like we are born, we have to die, right? So everything that arises like a flower, today it arises, it stays for a short while and then it disappears. So this is the nature of phenomena. So even the planet Earth also actually came about through processes like this. It has arisen, it will stay for a short while and then it will be destroyed by fire and water. So it's not like we don't call it Armageddon. or we don't call it like the judgment day. We just call it a natural process of dissolution. And then after some time there is quiet activity. It doesn't mean that the energy has disappeared. It just means that it takes time for things to form again. So after aeons, then you can see another planet forming again somewhere else. It may not be the same as planet Earth, but it can contain life, something like that. And this has happened many times before, the Buddha said. Many times before. So this is not the first time that planet Earth is around. So now we are scrambling to, I teach environmental studies, so we are scrambling to save the planet Earth because there's climate change. So many people will die, the whole planet will be scorched, so we are trying our level best to save it. But eventually, the planet will be consumed by fire and water, and it will die off anyway. So nothing is permanent, everything is impermanent. So whatever that comes must go. So this planet is not forever. And then before this planet came, there were many other similar planets like this one also. And in those planets, sometimes a Buddha comes, sometimes it doesn't come. So the time between the formation of the two planets, for example, sometimes there is no Buddha coming. But there are beings in different realms, right? So, but that time the Buddha doesn't arise. And that can be billions of years. So if you're born at a time where during that time where you cannot hear the name of the Buddha, there is no teaching and there is no Sangha to teach. So therefore at that time there is no concept of Dharma. So there is no way that you can practice, because you simply don't know what to practice. You don't really understand the condition. But the mind is there, ignorance is there, anger is there, hatred is there, greed is there, everything is there, jealousy is there, but Dharma not there. So even if you're born as a human being during that time also, you will not be able to, if you don't have Dharma, no use. So the Buddha, like a mother, died before he could become a Buddha. So she didn't get the opportunity to listen to the teachings, but fortunately when she was reborn in the Tawatimsa heaven of the gods of the 33, the Buddha actually went to the Deva realm to teach his mother the Dharma. So finally he managed to repay her kindness. But his teachers who were reborn in other realms, before he became the Buddha, the teachers did not know the Dharma, the full Dharma. They know only some, but not full, not the whole path. So there are those people that were his teachers, his meditation teachers, and many holy beings who knew that this Siddhartha will one day become a Buddha. They cried. They said that we will not live long enough for this child to grow up to become a Buddha. So we will live very long time. We will never ever, we might be reborn. We might not even be reborn at a time where the Buddha will be born. So here in this age, we call it a yuga. In this age, this is Buddha number 4. Yeah, and Buddha number 4 is not like 1,000 years, 2,000 years, about millions of years. Then one Buddha comes, like that, right? Something like that.
This age means.
So this age means like in this in this fortunate aeon, we say that the 4 Buddhas have come, and then there have been Buddhas in the past. So we have 28 Buddhas have already come, according to the scriptures, right? So there was a time 3,000 years ago there was no Buddha. 5,000 years ago there was no Buddha. 10,000 years ago there was no Buddha. And in some areas today there is no Buddha's teaching also. So that's why our birth is very precious, amazingly precious. Yeah. So then a person, so being born in a dark aeon means reborn in a time where there is no Buddha, in a universe where no Buddha has appeared. No one has ever heard of the 3 jewels. As there is no Dharma, there is no opportunity to practice. So please reflect on it. So now you are hungry to listen to the Dharma. You came here because you want to listen to the Dharma. You came into this sanctuary because you want to learn the Dharma. What if you came into a time where there is no Dharma? There is no Buddha. What is there to learn? What is there to practice? How are you going to come out from the suffering states of mind? How are you going to tame your mind? How are you going to attain peaceful states of mind? It's not possible. So therefore, you have to understand how precious it is. Yeah. So now, the mind of a person who is born deaf and mute cannot function properly, and the process of listening to the teachings, expounding them, reflecting on them, putting them into practice is impeded. Of course, in the present day, being born deaf and mute is not such a big problem because we have technology. But in the past, when there's no technology, when the teachings were orally given, you cannot hear, right? And then also you cannot speak. So it's very difficult for you to ask questions. So even that is considered as not a precious human rebirth. But fast forward 2,600 years, I think this one may not be so relevant now. Being born deaf and mute is hearing impaired and speech impaired and even visually impaired is not an impediment to start with the Dharma. But unless there is a mental health issue or there is a congenital brain issue, then yes, it's difficult. Yeah. So for people who have like certain syndromes, yeah, So okay. So now we have advantages related to the Dharma. So now we say that we are born human in the central place. Central place means where you can get the Dharma, and with all of one's faculties. So now I want to ask you, how many faculties do you have? Faculty means? You have your eye, ears, nose, tongue, and then your hands, your feet, right? And then everything is perfect. Okay? So that's one. So for number one is born as a human. Number two, you're born in a central place. Central place actually really means that place where you can receive the teachings, right? So number three, you have your full faculties intact. Number four, you do not have a conflicting lifestyle. So a conflicting lifestyle is you're always immersed in negative actions. So meaning that some people, they are constantly like immersed in if you are trained as a child soldier, for example, or you are like a rebel in a rebel group, constantly fighting, constantly taking life. So we don't call that a precious human rebirth because you are always negative karma. And if you are, somebody who is having you're trading in people and you're constantly engaging in harming others, right? Like maybe butchering and killing in many different forms. So the whole life is spent doing negative actions. So that is called a conflicting lifestyle. So now you check and see whether your lifestyle is conflicting or not conflicting, right? So are you like constantly involved in negative actions, like the whole day, from morning till night, you are engaging in negative actions. Negative actions means killing, stealing, raping, abusing others, constantly the whole day you're telling lies and defrauding other people, gossiping and having evil states of mind. And then you're constantly in drugs, high, taking this LSDs, so psychedelic drugs, constantly in a state of drunkenness, sniffing the glue, constantly in the state where you're high. So that is a conflicting lifestyle, right?
Yeah, probably you are not, but may I say that you are constantly with bad temptation.
Is that continuously throughout the day? So you have temptations, but you are not you have a choice whether you want to indulge or you don't want to indulge. And maybe you're 50-50. If you're 50-50, you're still considered like you have a precious human rebirth because you still have the interest and you still, your mind is sufficiently clear for you to want to listen to the Dharma. For those beings who have conflicting lifestyle, the mind is not clear. And because their negative karma obstructs them even further. Like if you're on psychedelic drugs, your mind is definitely not clear. You have no clarity. If you are intoxicated, you have no clarity of mind. Absolutely no clarity of mind. If you're addicted to pornography and all, no clarity of mind. So you will not have the interest to learn the Dharma also, right? So, yeah. And then now you have faith in the Dharma. Do you have faith in the Dharma? So you have some conviction that the Dharma has some power to transform your mind. There must be something in the Dharma. The teachings have the ability to transform the mind from negative to positive. there is something in the teachings. And if you have that conviction, then congratulations, we call that the 5 individual advantages. Number 1, being born a human. Number 2, being born in a central place where you can receive the Dharma. Number 3, you have your full faculties intact. Number 4, you have a good lifestyle, right, that allows you to have clarity of mind. Number 5, you have faith in the Dharma. Now we go to the 5. Yes.
Having faith is not like having conviction.
Yeah,
It's
you know,
more-
it is conviction. Yeah, it's just a choice
Ah,
of words.
okay.
Yeah, it's not like
I thought it was more hope.
it's not like blind faith. It is just like you have, yes, the best word is conviction. You are right. Yeah, so the best word is conviction. And then the 5 circumstantial advantages. So we say it is external. So just now that one was internal. Being born human, being born with faculties intact, being born in a middle country, being born not having a conflicting lifestyle. And number 5 is that what I also forgot now. It is you have conviction. So now you have got the 5 circumstantial advantages. So the Buddha has appeared. A Buddha has appeared. So it has come, right? And the Buddha has taught the Dharma. So the appearing of a Buddha is not a given. It's not like all the time, at any time in the world, the Buddha will come. So there are times where the Buddha doesn't come. Number 2, the Buddha has taught. And not every Buddha teaches the Dharma. We have got some Buddha called the Pratika Buddhas, which are the solitary Buddhas that never teach. Even this Buddha, the Buddha Shakyamuni, also actually didn't want to teach. Because he said that the Dharma that I have discovered is far too profound and deep and vast. And I do not think that sentient beings can understand. So therefore I should just keep quiet and enjoy the bliss of enlightenment. And then the Devas had to come and request, please, the Buddha, there are beings who have very little dust in their eyes who can actually understand the teachings. Please teach. So this Buddha said, oh, you're probably right. Okay, yeah. Then I teach, yeah. Like that. But there are so many other Buddhas that have come that have become enlightened, but they never teach, and you don't even know who they are. They could be among us somewhere today. So there are Buddhas who do not teach. So what is the use of a Buddha not teaching? Very little. So the Buddha comes, and then because we don't have the karma, sometimes it's not the Buddha doesn't want to teach, we don't have the karma to receive, so we don't get the teachings. Right? So now we have received the teaching. So the Buddha teaching, and that too teaching for 45 years on foot, walking everywhere, teaching, going hungry, and then have to withstand the elements, staying in the forest, dressed shabbily, begging for food and eating scraps. And it is through these harsh conditions that we got the teachings. And the 6 arduous years of heavy penance, getting it all wrong, doing many different things, hanging himself from the top of the tree, going inside the river, cold river, not eating, and then reducing his food to only 1 grain of rice per day until he became skin and bones. And he still did become enlightened, and then later on he realized, oh, that's not the way. I shouldn't punish my body, therefore I shall eat, but I shall meditate, I shall follow the middle way, balanced way. And that's how he became a Buddha, through so much hardship. And after becoming a Buddha, he could have just kept quiet and enjoy the bliss and then forget about everybody else. But he didn't. He had so much compassion. And he has so much compassion to walk barefoot in the forest, his legs, his feet being, like completely hardened, the foot, the thorns, animal bites, the cold, the heat, the diarrheas, the food poisonings, and the horrible, people wanting to harm. So much of hardship. If you really, really understand how the teachings came about, it is through the great sacrifice of a person called the Buddha. So this person lived on this planet and went everywhere to teach the people. Sometimes the people will harm the Buddha, try to harm the Buddha, scold the Buddha. So many beings we are such unruly human beings that when we see a teacher coming, we harm. So despite all that, the teaching still came, still taught. And then guess what? Number 3 is that his teachings still exist. So it didn't die off when the Buddha passed away, attained Mahaparinirvana. The teachings didn't die. The teaching is still there until today. It's still there because it's passed down from one master to another, to another, to another, to another in an unbroken lineage. And we are very happy to say that even today, in this world today, the teachings are unbroken lineage. And I am teaching in front of you today because I have received from my masters. So these transmissions are all coming from masters, my masters, who I have received teachings from, and they have received teachings from their masters. And you know what is the lineage of these teachings? I have several different lineages. I have lineages from the Vietnamese tradition, the Zen tradition of Thich Nhat Hanh. I have the lineage of Theravada Buddhist masters in Sri Lanka, in Thailand, in Burma, and also I have lineage of my own masters in my own tradition, the Tibetan tradition, the Dalai Lama, the Karmapa, Trangul Rinpoche, Chokyamyama Rinpoche, Sonye Rinpoche, many, Lama Zopa Rinpoche. All these wonderful teachers going backwards into Tibet, going backwards into India, Naropa, Tilopa, Vajradhara, going backwards to the time of Guru Padma Sambhava. So all these masters, these great masters, going backwards, Nagarjuna, backwards, coming to the Buddha. So this is the lineage, the unbroken lineage. So the blessings are within the speech that is coming out from my mouth today is not me. It is that lineage of blessings, the unbroken transmission, and it's still there, and you are receiving it today. Just as 2,600 years ago the people received it, you are receiving it today. So that is how fortunate you are, and that is called precious human rebirth, right? And then the teaching still exists and can be followed, meaning that nobody is putting a gun on your head and saying you can't listen to that. There are some countries where you can't listen to the Dharma because it's very strict. They block, like in China, for example. No religion. Religion is poison. You cannot listen to the religion in communist countries, right? So you cannot. Yeah. So of course they have ways and means to listen to it now. It's not so bad compared to those days, but still it is regulated. It's not as free as we think it is, right? And there are also some countries where Buddhism is not allowed. Only certain other religions are allowed. So the Dharma cannot come into that country, and therefore you cannot hear, you cannot bring any text, any kind of representation, or any kind of Dharma teacher. You cannot enter the country also. So you see, even though the teachings are there, well, you can't follow it, and you've got to hide. So in this country also, so people of a certain faith cannot follow, because they belong to a different religion which is very strict. So you cannot. So that is.
What about like countries?
So sorry.
Like countries.
Which countries? Yeah.
No,
so,
the countries who haven't official religion. I mean, countries who haven't a religion.
Mm-hmm. So what I'm saying here is that in the past, when China invaded Tibet, nobody was allowed to read a Dharma book. Nobody was allowed to chant a mantra. If the Chinese soldiers saw the monks chanting the mantra, they will hit your face with a rifle butt. They will crush your skull if you do any prostrations. And they will break your hands and you crush your fingers if you have a rosary in your hand. That's not a precious human rebirth anymore. So that is what I'm trying to say. Any way of you have to practice in hiding, in secret. That is no more precious human rebirth. So even though you are in a Dharma country, even though you are in the central country, but there are evil kings or evil regimes that doesn't allow you. Right? In the past, in Tibetan history, there was a evil king called Lang Dharma. He destroyed all the monasteries, killed all the monks and nuns and all. So that was in the I think 8th century CE, 8th or 9th century. And then after that, it was revived again by the masters. So Lama Shantarakshita, Lama Atisha, and all. Sorry, not Shantarakshita. Lama Atisha and all came, and then they revived the teachings in Tibet. Right. So and then now 1,000 years later, that's the same thing happened in 1959. Thousands of monasteries destroyed. Mongolia also, thousands of monasteries destroyed. In Russia also destroyed. So all, wherever that there are monasteries, temples, scriptures, the holy relics of the masters and all desecrated, completely destroyed. Monks and nuns destroyed, killed and all, so forced to, have sexual relations with one another. And this was the most horrible time in the history of Tibet. When monks and nuns are celibate, we are not supposed to marry, and then comes a regime where forces us to break our vows, like that, and so much suffering. That is called the Dharma cannot be followed. So we do not have that kind of condition. So you see, so why I'm saying I'm giving you this teaching today is because I want you to think of how precious your human birth is. So then there are those who are kind-hearted towards others. So externally, so there are those that are kind-hearted towards others. So let me just very quickly so we are kind-hearted towards others means that there are people who are actually helping to make the Dharma accessible to you. The causes and conditions, YouTube channel, Dharma books, so many different things, so many different ways that you can access the teachings. Correct? So now I want to ask you, so now I want to read a passage to you. Right? So this is coming from the Buddha. So he said, I have found a Dharma like ambrosia, deep, peaceful, simple, uncompounded, radiant. If I explain it, no one will understand. So I shall stay here silent in the forest. Now, just think about it, If this had actually happened, where would we be today? If the Buddha hadn't taught. He said, okay, it's just too deep. Nobody understand. I don't want to teach. If the Buddha, if that had happened, no teach, no Dharma, no monk, no Sangha, no nothing. How would it be today? Most probably the meditation will be lost forever. Whatever little meditation there was would have been lost, right? And you will never know Vipassana. Vipassana is the Buddha's teaching. You'll never know dependent origination. There will be no Noble Eightfold Path, no threefold trainings. Nobody will understand karma and rebirth correctly. And there will be no guidance on ethical discipline, no guidance on how to attain peaceful states of mind, no guidance as to how to come up from this samsara and crossing the ocean of samsara to the shore of nirvana. Nothing of that sort. So you keep on being recycled over and over again over billions and trillions of years. So now I want to ask you the question. So I want to make this is a checklist. We have come to the end of our teaching for today. Right. So now we have the 8 conditions. So you check, So this is called the freedoms. So the freedoms and advantages. So now this freedom are the 8 freedoms. Number 1, are we born in hell?
No.
Number 2, are we born as hungry ghosts?
No.
Number 3, are we born as animals?
No.
Number 4, are we born as long-lived devas?
No.
The celestial beings, the gods, Number 5, are we born in the countries that are basically in places where we cannot get the Dharma?
No.
Okay. Do we have wrong views?
No.
That means we will live forever, or when we die it's okay, nothing will happen, no karma, we don't believe in anything, we just don't care,
No.
right? Okay. Then are we born where there is no Buddha?
No.
Are we born with mental impairment
No.
and disabilities?
No.
So which means that we have the 8 states of freedom. So that is one. And then the second one, so this is the that are the freedoms, and now we have the advantages. Number 1, we are born human, yes.
Yes.
Number 2, we are born in a central place, meaning that we can get the Dharma.
Yes.
Number 3, we are born with all of one's faculties intact.
Yes.
Number 4, we do not have a conflicting lifestyle. Number 5, we have conviction in the Dharma.
Yes.
Okay, so 5. Okay, 13 already. So now we have another 5. So number 1, we are born at a time where the Buddha has appeared. The Buddha has come.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
So number 2, we are born in a place where the Buddha has taught the Dharma.
Yes.
His teachings still exist,
Yes.
can be followed. Are you going to be beaten and killed for following?
No.
Are you going to be slapped and killed, murdered for following? Okay. And you can, and through the kindness of others, can you access the teachings today? Like the Dharma book and all the teachings and all this? Yes? Okay. So my job is done. That's it. So, do you understand what I'm trying to say?
I hope.
Yeah. Any questions?
It could be impossible that some of those questions were yes or no. Some, I mean, 1 or 2.
If 1 or 2 are no, then the very fact now that you have received the teachings, you are here, means, and you can understand me. Now let's not worry about the checklist. Let me put it in a different way. You are here, I'm in front of you, you have heard the Dharma, you can understand the Dharma, your mind is clear, and basically you have received it, the teachings.
Yeah, it's
So now,
better.
Yeah? So that is the ancient way of saying it, right? But I had to go through it because today is your birthday, and I wanted you all to understand that we are not born somewhere else. We are here in this human realm. Yeah? So I am teaching the same Dharma Baba cannot receive.
Yeah.
I am teaching the same Dharma my Kiki cannot receive. I'm teaching the same Dharma the insects cannot receive.
The plants as well.
The plants also cannot receive because they don't have the ability to cognize. That's what I'm talking about. So plain and simple. So now, very few people on earth actually have this. You check your whole life. Now you just reflect for 1 minute. Your whole life, how much Dharma have you heard?
Since young,
Mm.
since I was born
Mm.
until now,
Mm.
because of my family,
You heard many times.
because all my ancestors, my families, all Chinese, we pass down, pass down.
So you have
Since I was born,
precious human rebirth. You understand?
understand?
Okay. So now, in the past, if you didn't have the opportunity at that time, technically speaking, according to the teachings, it's not called precious human rebirth.
It's not.
It is not called a precious human rebirth. That means you're born human, but you do not have access to the teachings and the ability to practice it. That's what precious human rebirth means. An ability to access the teachings, ability to listen to it, ability to reflect on it, and the ability to meditate on it. If this is not present, then it's not a precious human rebirth.
I'm not. I think I'm not.
But now, now,
Yeah,
now,
now.
Now.
Yeah, but I cannot be considered like, for instance.
so whatever that was
like
in the
him.
past, no, now. You are here now, at this moment in time, yours is a precious human rebirth. And after this, it's your choice. After this, because you know where to access the teachings, you know that the teachings are there, you know there's a continuity, there are people who can teach, and you know that basically this is a teaching that can bring you out of samsara, and if you want to, you can practice.
That's different. I understand what you mean.
So that's
I can
yes.
I can go deeper and I can spread in my way, but not teach.
Yeah. But you have to learn
Yeah, okay.
So the ability to receive, ability to
yes,
listen,
okay.
to
Yeah.
reflect and meditate.
Yeah, okay.
If you have that freedom and the advantages, meaning that yours is a precious human rebirth. Now, one more before I close this session. So the Buddha said that the human rebirth itself is very difficult to find. So in certain religious traditions, like in the Sikh religion, it is said that after 84,000, is that 84,000, 84 what thousand is it? Charasi lakh. How much is Charasi? 8.4 million. 8.4 million births, different forms that you finally get the human rebirth. So we are at the pinnacle of our existence because you have got to go through 8.4 million different life forms in order to attain this birth. That is from the Sikh tradition. But in the Buddhist tradition, the Buddha said that it's like a blind turtle in the sea, once every 100 years will come to the surface, and then at the surface there is some sort like a hula hoop, and then you put your head through the very tight hula hoop, and then you fit there. Yes. So what are the chances of a blind turtle being able to see the hula hoop? And once every 100 years it comes out, and only once it comes out, and when it comes out it has to be a perfect hula hoop right up there, and it can fit your neck, and you know where it is. What is the probability?
It's kind of impossible.
So the Buddha said that is how impossible to attain the human birth.
Yeah.
And that is just talking about human birth. So now we have 8 billion people and counting on the planet, but not everybody has precious human rebirth. So I'm not just talking about human itself is so difficult to find. And you know what, when we are supposed to come, when we were about to be conceived, we were like one of those beings, like when after your near-death experience, you came out of the body, right? So there are so many millions of beings are like that. Trillions and gazillions, beings. And then they are all waiting at the bedroom. Why? Because that's where the parents are coming together. And these millions of beings are waiting for the moment where the sperm and the ovum meet, so that the consciousness can enter into that. So that is how we are born. This is according to the teachings.
Can you repeat it?
Yes. So humans are born with the sperm of the father and the ovum of the mother, right? So at the time of conception, when the parents come together, right? We are there. We were all there. You were there in your parents' bedroom, I was there in my parents' bedroom. So we are all adults, we can understand that, right? Okay. At that particular time, we are not only one person is there, it's not only you. There was a competition, just like the hungry ghosts compete to take one snot. So there was a competition for us to enter into our mother's womb. And then guess what? Who's the winner?
So it's really a competition. It's not because I thought that it was our choice.
It's not a choice.
It's really a competition.
It is a competition, and you are here because you have a karmic connection with your parents of this life. So yes, so therefore if we have questions about why we are here, our parents, why did they bring us into this world, why do they treat us like this, why do we have such a difficult life or a good life or whatever life, it's our karma. Karma means whatever that we have done in the past, the actions, we have to go through the effects. So it is our karma to be born as human beings because we created a tremendous amount of merit. You have listened to the Dharma before. That's why you are here. You have made aspirations that may I listen to the Dharma again in a future life. You have made aspiration prayers in the past through generosity, through keeping of your morality. To keeping of the morality, you don't kill, you don't steal, you don't tell lies, you don't harm other people's bodies sexually, you don't have indulged in intoxicants, you kept your mind and your body so pure in previous lives, and you offered you so much of generosity, you were so patient, you made so much effort, you did a lot of meditation, and you read a lot of books, and you listened to so much dharma, right? And you had that 6 conditions, the 6 paramitas we call it, the perfections, and then you constantly offer, you're generous with your food, you offer lamps to the Buddha, to the holy beings, you offer the robes to the holy beings, you offer whatever that you can to the animals, to the sick, to the disabled, you offer so much of charity, you did so much. After many lifetimes that has ripened, and therefore when you are standing with million other beings in your parents' bedroom, guess who is the victorious one? And why are you victorious? Why am I victorious? Why are we here? Because we have done so much hard work. Without hard work, we cannot get the human rebirth. So today is your birthday. So a birthday means that you have done so much hard work that you are conceived in your mother's womb, and you have come out, and you could have died in the mother's womb. But that didn't happen because your mother was super careful and super kind. Your parents, when you were born, you were not born, stillborn. Your parents were so kind to take care of you, to feed you. They didn't leave you like that. Some people, when they see a girl child, they will kill. In the past, even today also, a girl is born, they will kill. They throw. And the dogs eat it. In India today, it's still happening.
Thailand also got a lot. Thailand.
The baby's big girl, then they throw something.
So it's
In here also have.
Yeah, but what about those exactly? The babies.
So we see our parents are so kind that they kept us. They didn't kill us. They kept us girl child, yeah? They kept us. Not only they kept us, they educated us, they loved us, they gave us opportunities. They, so they are incredibly kind. Yes, we can't get along on many fronts. But we have to admit that without our parents, we won't be here today. They are the ones who put food on the table. They are the ones who nourished us with their breast milk, mother. And then they are the ones who sacrificed their sleep at night for us. They are the ones who gave us education. They are the ones who gave us food until we could survive on our own.
Following the fact that we are the winner, so this baby that was the winner and arrived here as a human being, but he hadn't the possibility to.
So those beings that have passed away, that when they come out as human beings, they are either stillborn or they are killed by their parents or killed by anyone. It's because of karma. So you have the karma to be born a human being, but not for long. Maybe for a few hours.
Okay.
So karma is like that.
And also, if you are
So now,
an abortion,
yes, correct. Your mother kept you means your mother didn't abort you. So that is something really amazing. Yeah. So you are here. So you remember the kindness of the mother, because the mother could have done many things. Could have drunk alcohol. Could have ruined your entire birth, your entire body in the womb itself. But she didn't. She brought you out healthy, safe until today, and we live until quite, we are, all of us are way above 20, right? So the first few years of life is very fragile. Anybody can die anytime. And now we are on our own, independent. So, so many reasons for us to rejoice, and it is extremely difficult for us to even get a human rebirth, and so difficult for us to last in the womb, so difficult for us to be born alive, so difficult for us to be kept alive, so difficult for us to be kept, given nourishment, and to be given education, and to be given everything. So difficult for us to do a lot of things. Yet we are here, and this is nothing short of a miracle. So a miracle is not a Buddha appearing and then blessing your head, and saying, voila, I'm here, or a miracle is not something, like some flowers coming out from the sky. The true miracle is your precious human rebirth. This is the miracle that we take for granted all the time. blame our parents, our circumstances and all, but we really must think that the tremendous amount of hard work, merits that we have accumulated in the past lives, and we have made aspiration prayers to be born in a human life, because a human life is the only life where you can practice the Dharma. They cannot. So now, can you understand how incredibly lucky we are? So we are winners in every sense of the word. But we don't feel like winners, we feel like life is difficult because we have other karmas that we have done that are ripening. So if you don't want to suffer because of the negativities, we have very good merits, but we also have done a lot of unvirtuous deeds, demerits, not good karma that we have done. So those negative karmas are ripening now. So those negative karmas, those bad seeds are sprouting. So in order to try to have a good life, you need to meditate, keep your precepts, keep your ethical discipline. You need to be able to create more good karma so that your negative karma can be diluted. It's like a river. It's like, okay, I have an ink. If I take ink and I put in this cup, and I take one drop of ink and I put in a river, will the river turn blue?
No.
But will this cup, the water, turn blue?
Yeah.
You know what is the difference? This cup is the small merits, very little good karma you do, and that one bad karma can impact you very seriously if your good karma is only as much as this cup. But if your good karma is like the river, then that one drop of ink, which is like bad karma, does not really harm you much. It doesn't affect you. So therefore, every day in your life, try to create more and more good karma to make it as vast and big as a river. So that if it remains small like that, we will constantly have problems. Every waking moment will be hell for us because, that's as much as we have. So how to create good karma? Learn the Dharma, listen to the teachings, reflect on the teachings, meditate upon the teachings, send loving kindness to all, keep your precepts, do not kill, do not steal, do not engage in sexual misconduct, do not harm others through the speech, and do not harm your body through intoxicants. If you can keep these 5 basic ones, you're already creating extensive amounts of good karma. And of course, there are so many other teachings in the Noble Eightfold Path, the 3 trainings, ethics, meditation and wisdom trainings that will make your cup become a river. Cheers. So we've got to stop, right? Because it's otherwise you cannot wake up in the morning. So I think the purpose of this teaching is to impress upon us that our lives have value, and not only as value, we are the super winners. Can you imagine like wanting to buy an iPhone? You line up for 1 hour, one day outside of a store. Many people, the latest iPhone. Then the store opens, and then you enter into the store, and then you want to get this only like 20 or 100 pieces, and there are like about 1,000 people outside of the store, and you want to get only that 20 pieces, and you're one of the lucky ones who managed to get the iPhone today, right? Or you're one of the lucky ones who won the lottery. There are 1 million people who bought the lottery, but your ticket is number 1. That is, human rebirth is like winning a lottery. So sometimes, you're left behind. Or you want to climb the bus, but 40 people climb before you. Or you want to get into the train, but 100 people are already there. You couldn't enter the train. And then you want to enter a lift. 20 people are already in front of you. Then you've got to wait another few more rounds for the lift to come. So it's like that. But we entered the lift of our mother's womb. We managed to go in, and it's just us, no one else. Or sometimes maybe you can share with your twin brother or twin sister. Okay, 3 people in the lift, 3 people in the womb, 3 lucky ones, because my mother has, somehow or other, he managed to divide into 3. And then 3 consciousness could go in and then sit in the mother's womb at the same time, and then they are born triplets. Yay! Right? So 3 victorious ones, but most of the time only 1. So we are the victorious ones. So now if you put your life, if you think like this, you put your life into perspective, you will never complain ever again about anything under the sun. Because the most prized possession is our body. As long as we have our human body, which is a precious human body now, precious human existence, can you tell me what else do you need? Right? So you already have everything, and yet we want more. So this is what we aspired for. This is what we dreamt about in past lives. May I have a human body? And when we got it, we forgot. Oh, did I ever dream that? I don't remember, but yes, you did. According to the Buddha, you did. You did pray day and night. You did do charity day and night. You did help people day and night. You did keep your precepts, your vows day and night, your ethics. And because of that, you're here today. So what more do we want? We want everything to go our way. That's not possible because our cup is so small. So things can't go our way. So if you want things to go your way, your cup has to be big. Yeah. So I think we have got to stop the class, otherwise all of you will collapse. Yes?
I'm not going to sleep
So,
because there's so much to do.
So basically our parents, no matter how our relationship is with them, there's no one kinder than our parents. So this is something that I would like you to meditate upon when you go back.
What did you say? Sorry, last.
There is nobody in this world who is kinder than our mother and father.
Yeah.
So and that is the reason why we cannot kill our parents. Killing our parents is the most heaviest negative karma in the whole wide world. And the Buddha also said that we can never repay the kindness of our parents. So there was a story that, we carried our father on our right shoulder and our mother on the left shoulder. We carry them for 100 years and we take care of them for 100 years. Wherever we go, we carry them on our backs. We love them so much, we don't allow them to walk. They're so old, they cannot walk. So we carry them on our backs for 100 years. We feed them, clothe them, give them medicine, make them comfortable, make them happy. Yet we would not have repaid our parents' kindness. The Buddha said the only way to repay the kindness fully is take care of them, yes, but on top of that you've got to give them the gift of Dharma. Yes. So if we still have parents today, either one also, so we must change our relationship with them. We must change our relationship. Whatever that you have learned, try to, in a very skillful, in your own cultural way, in your own context, try to give some peace and some clarity to the parents before they pass away. And for those parents who have already passed away, we can still help them by dedicating the marriage to them. So no matter where they are, even if they have passed away, we can still help them. So every day, every single waking moment in our lives, we always have to think that I want to repay my mother's and father's kindness. Regardless of how they were, how they treated me in this life, they still kept you until you became old enough to fend for yourself. And that's more than enough, according to the Buddha. So with this, we dedicate the marriage. So now bring into mind your mother of this life on the left and father of this life on your right hand side, and they are here with you. Imagine that they are here, even though they are long past, or they are very old, or they are not physically here, but they are still on this earth. You bring them to mind and they will receive. They definitely will receive this merits. And I will chant in Tibetan, and you think that you share the positive energy from here, so that my parents, my wonderful parents, my kind mother and father, and all beings have been my mother, father in the past. I lived many times before. All beings have been my mother and father, including my own mother and father. I dedicate this to them, that they may be free from harm, free from danger, free from mental and physical suffering. May they be able to receive the teachings, may they be able to practice the teachings, may they be able to meditate, and may they be able to come out from the cycle of samsara. So this is the gift we give our parents. So with this, very strongly you think of your parents now. Wherever they are, strongly think, and they will receive. And I will chant. Sunam de tamje zepani tomne nye pe danam pamje ne ke gana che bala trupa ye tipe zole drowa resho jampe pawo jetara ke bada konto zampo deyan de shente de da kunge je so da lo jenge wa de da tamje raptu ngo de sun shepe gya wa tamje gi ngo wa gala chotu nga pa de da ge ge we tsawa de kun chan zampo che raptu ngo wa re ge kewa kuntu yanda lama dan rame cheke pala lon chwe jin sada lam je yonte rabzo ne doje change go phan yu tho sho sange ko so ne pe jin lab dan chini min juro de pe jin lab dan ge de me che de pe jin lab ki jitarang wa mon lam ro pa re sho pa den sa ve lama rim po che da ki che vo pe be de jo la ka trin che pe go ne je zo te ko so to ge ngo do cha du se pa de la me nam para thar pa la keche samya lokta mi ke jin ji ze le par thu ve mu gi ki la me jin la sem la jo par sho ma ko kham zan la sulwa de chotu ku che ring la sulwa de le da shin ge la sulwa de lama dan da wa me par jin gi lo cha se wa dan ju ji sha pa da jesu ye rang ku shin so wa ye ke wa chun se da gi chi sa pa tham che zo pe jan chu che ngo wo jan chu sim chu rim po che ma ke pa nam ki ju re che ke pa nya pa me pa yang go ne gon du pe wa re sho to nye ta wa rim po che ma ke pa nam ki ju re che ke pa nya pa me pa yang go ne gon du pe wa re sho Chopa tse me rimpo che ma ke pa nam ke jure che ke pa nyam pa me pa yang go ne gondu pe war shori ni ta wa rimpo che ma ke pa nam ke jure che ke pa nyam pa me pa yang go ne gondu pe war sho sarva papa sakaranam avoid evil Kushala Jopa Sampada, do good. Swachita Paryavadanam, train your mind. Etad Buddhanam Shasanam, this is the teaching of all the Buddhas. Tarakati Miram Deepo, like a star, aberration and a flame. Maya Vashaya Buddham, like an illusion, a dewdrop and a bubble. Swapnam cha vidyuta brahmcha, like a dream, like a dream and like lightning. Evam drastavya sanskritam, view phenomena and yourself in this way as impermanent and changing and subject to death and decay. Anena punyena tu sarvadashitam avapya nijitya cha dosha vidvesha jararuja mrityu mahormi sankulat samudhareyam bhava sagara jagataha. We dedicate this marriage to all living beings, especially our parents of this life and parents of all previous lives, that they may be able to purify ignorance, attachment and hatred and be completely free from this terrifying ocean of birth, old age, sickness and death. Bhavatu sarvamangalam. May all beings be happy. May all beings be happy. May all beings be happy. Sabbe sattva bhavantu sukhitata.
So,